Thank you for joining us for our continuing online festival, RAYfest. I am Saima, and with Fatima, we are the co-creators of Ray of God. We seek to share feminine spiritual wisdom to help realize God in all ways and to align with justice, truth, and beauty. The energetic state of the feminine is our guiding principle and holds our intention. And we believe that all genders hold the feminine and masculine within themselves. While we are women-led and women-centered, we welcome and encourage all genders to join us in creating safer, inclusive spaces. Ray does not seek to present a voice of expertise. We see ourselves as travelers along the way and learning with each step. Our ideas are constantly evolving, and we hope that you will continue to join us on this journey to deeper consciousness. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome to our mystic music session this evening, Daliah Latifa Nur. She is an editor, media trainer, blogger, poet, and singer, and so much more, based in London. Her passion is writing about the journey of awakening to love, inspired by the subtle and beautiful workings of nature, the wisdom of Rumi, and the revival of the sacred feminine. Her debut album, from which you heard one of the songs just now, Fragrance of Truth, is streaming on all music platforms, and that was on Spotify that I was playing it from. And Daliah is offering us an exclusive this evening, music and poetry as part of the festival's theme. Absolutely delighted to have you, Daliah Jan. Thank you so much. And everybody, I don't know, finger snapping or just clapping or waving with the emojis if you know how to use them. Welcome, Daliah Jan.
Thank you. Bismillah. The battlefield always looks more fierce as the sun begins to rise. Through the clouds, the rays stream on the sword strapped to my side. For a long time, I kept it out of sight. Eyes fixed ahead, gaze as sharp as the ice that stops the water from flowing in the dead of winter. Frigid as the fear that forms a dam behind my eyes. Sadness hides in the place where dreams go to die. But warriors are dreamers, and warriors aren't afraid to cry. Sorrow is the fuel that keeps their eyes burning bright, the gas that sets the stars alight in the darkness of a terrifying night, when all alone they step into the unknown, take their positions in the combat zone, putting down their shields on the front line. Spears fly toward them from all sides. And warriors aren't afraid to cry. The salt of tears is the feast of queens who relinquish their crowns, strip naked, jump into the sea, unafraid to drown. They swallow the bitter drink. It burns through every bastion of backward belief that somehow they had to bow to the toxic elite and censor their behavior so they could appear sweet. But like grapes growing on a vine, what is really sweet must first be sour. In the burning sun, it finds its flavor. In the salty sea of misery, queens find their power. Heaven is surrounded by fire on all sides, and warriors aren't afraid to cry. I smiled for years. It didn't change a thing. Now I love the taste of tears reminding me of the ocean within. A dash of salt adds flavor to every meal. Why swallow what is bland? I take the sword in my hand, sharpen it with tears of times gone by, memories pounded into particles of salt. Like waves, they crash out of my eyes, until every reservoir is empty as the birth canal after the babe is born. Warriors on this battlefield, as bare as the day they were born, are born again. From behind the armor, innocence reigns once more. Curls flowing by their sides, falling to their knees on the front line. For miles their cheeks bleed, tears trickle down as tributaries on the way to the sea, touching their tongues as they smile. Bitter or sweet, there is no difference in this victory. No longer selfish, no longer scared, no longer shy. Warriors aren't afraid to cry. Warriors aren't afraid to cry. A poem that arrived in honor of this weekend, and all of you and everyone who is here today or holding this festival in heart for this celebration of feminine courage. If I look at my own journey of awakening, I find that every brave moment has started with a single tear, so full of longing that when it touches the earth of my whole being quakes. A tear so powerful that if it were to fall on the surface of the sea would part. I feel we are all here today and this weekend because of tears like these. So I would like this evening to honor our tears. I'm Daliah Latifa Nur, and I'm so grateful to Fatih and Saima, my soul sisters, for opening the space for me to share some words about my journey, some poetry, some singing, some dialogue, woven together in an informal way, using just my voice. It occurred to me recently that my life in the past few years has sort of I felt kind of like the protagonist of a musical, of my own musical. There's a lot of drama, there's tension, broken hearts, disappointments, drastic changes, longing, love, everything. And there's always a song around the corner. So much of my journey in healing complex post-traumatic stress disorder has been about finding and trusting my voice and stepping into my voice. And in order to do that, I've really had to sit in some very deep wounding that has separated me from my divine essence. And it is from that place that tears flow. The tears containing salt that burns away falsehood. The burning, the flames that burn away the wax of a candle, the flames that set incense alight, leaving only subtle fragrance in the air. Sometimes you need to light the incense inside. Let the fragrant smoke billow in the caves of the mind. when its delicate undertones touch the places we try to hide. A spark of smoky frankincense makes the senses run wild. It's a strange fire, the one ignited inside, kindled by water, not flames. Maybe it's the salt tears contain that burns everything away until only the fragrance remains. As the ashes fall down, you see the bars were wood, not metal. They crumble to the floor when the smell of lavender opens the door to the third eye, where innocence resides. The soul of the inner child finally given permission to be alive. She dances on the embers of time. Incense. These are lyrics I wrote about a year ago, while really feeling into the burning that happens as what is false in us dissolves, leaving only the sweet, fragrant subtlety of what is true. But tears are not only salt, they are also water. They are mostly water. The water that washes away, the water that baptizes, the water that energizes. I was at an art show recently where there were many sculptures made from clay, and the caption described clay as a malleable material that needs to be kept damp in order to remain soft. Perhaps the water contained in our tears is what keeps the clay of the human beings malleable and soft. A little poem about how water flows. I could call you my muse, how I'm always glued to your wisdom. You push me deeper, deeper than I ever wanted to go. You urge me to be vulnerable, saying water always flows from high to low. You gaze at the fragile face I hide behind. Pull apart this nesting doll, wipe the tears away, then piece me back till I am whole. You urge me to be vulnerable, saying water always flows from high to low. When I'm on the roof, you call me down below to swim in the dark of your gentle glow. You say they only look like demons until the masks fall. You urge me to be vulnerable, saying water always flows from high to low, from high to low, from high to low. My feet tread gently at your side, to hear the river come and go. Holding bags of debris, I'm on a hill. Down at the bank, you let them go. Lighten the load so the waters flow. You urge me to be vulnerable, saying water always flows from high to low. The way water flows. Like a teardrop trickling down the cheek, trickling down and touching lips as parched as a desert. Now an excerpt from a story about the power of a tear, a true story. I cried a single tear on the banks of the river. It was a cloudy day, every inch of the sky was black and grey. The moment it touched the water and the waves carried it away, the rain came down crashing from the sky onto my face. That's how you love me on a day that's gloomy. The raindrops on the river carry my anguish away. Can I give you a tear for a river of joy in exchange? A single tear and all the longing it contains. A tear that disappears in your endless ways. That's the only sincere gift I possess today. That's the only sincere gift I possess today. Raindrops on the river. The River Thames in London, where I wrote this song during one of my lunch breaks at work, has carried a lot of my anguish away. Do you have a river that washes away your tears, or a body of water? I feel like a lot of my creativity flows like water out from my eyelids. Many of my poems and lyrics are prayers. Prayers to deepen my connection to my inmost heart and live life from that sacred place. I'd like now to share one such poem, one such prayer about water. Let me move like water does, flowing downward as a river to the sea, never lingering too long at higher elevations, nourishing even the smallest particle of debris, sometimes fierce like a wave whose kiss erodes the hardest sediment of grief, sometimes delicately flowing over pebbles like a stream, still on the surface, moving and rippling beneath. Let me surge like water does, as the Zemzem spring from rock. Let me not get stuck. If I must be stony, let me be sandstone, into which water can soak and roots can grow so spaciously. Let softness be my strength. Let frost be my armor, melting in the rays of the sun. Let my runoff sink into the deepest corners of earth and body that need nourishment. Let me fall from the clouds like water does, unafraid of the speed of change, condensing, precipitating, evaporating, sinking, or swimming. Let there be no difference. Let me be that alive, that living. Let me sing. Let me always sing, like water does, in the inner curves of a shell, with a voice that always leads ears to the ocean. Let me taste its salty drops on my face. Let me quench thirst without leaving a trace. Let being the sea or a drop feel the same. And when all is said and done, let me boil like water does, turning to vapor, mingling with air, felt and not seen, felt and not seen. Let me always transform like water does, like water does. How beautiful is water? How beautiful is the courage to be moved like water by the wind of the universe. I see so many of us moving toward more embodied awakening, which we've been talking about today, and I'm sure we'll continue to talk about tomorrow and for months and years to come. How to choose love rather than fear as we step into unknown after unknown. And so I'd like to sing a song about courage, if I don't cry. In particular, the courage to embrace imperfection, to embrace the dark and the light. The courage that without which the perfectionist in me would not be able to sit here and share with you today. It's called Crooked Corners. You don't know what you're made of, that clay moving through your fingers contains a waterfall of stars. They dance in your eyes, roll out in tears on your face, and break through veils of fright. You don't mind when the lines aren't straight. You let them curve every which way, and I see you flourish in the crooked corners of courage. Sitting in the jagged edges with your hair flowing and your tears falling, I can taste the ocean inside your fire. It's pure devotion, how you walk on coals to light your flame. You don't mind when the lines aren't straight. You let them curve every which way, and I see you flourish in the crooked corners of courage. In the crooked corners, in the crooked corners. No one knows the way you've been, how many ashes you've breathed in. A phoenix soaring from the edge of reason. You give me something to believe in. You give me something to believe in. And I see you flourish in the crooked corners, in the crooked corners of courage. I'd like to end today with a little video that I think really captures the feeling of this gathering, the beauty that sprouts forth from our bodies as we embody spirit more fully. It's called Clues in Color. It's a spoken word piece set to music by the wonderful Nuno Silva, who also created music for This Breath, which we were listening to earlier. And also the chanting of the divine name Ya Musawwir, which in the Sufi tradition refers to the divine attribute, the bestower of form, which is for me, is really one of the key attributes of creativity. So I feel that presence of Ya Musawwir very deeply. I was saying earlier that I wrote this poem, I think 2.5 years ago. And it's been really interesting because it was just there on a page for a really long time. And then I had some music made for it last year, about a year ago. And then it just sat there again for many months. because I didn't really know how to present it. The piece that I'm going to show you now just came together in the past 2 months, and really divinely timed for this gathering. Bismillah, Ya Musawwir. You are the curator. I am ink for a painting in your collection. With thorns of a delicate rose, you prick my elbows. Oils of red, blue, and yellow gush onto your palette. You add a stroke of one hue with your brush. It rubs against the canvas so rough that tears of green pigment flow from my eyes, trickling from the top to bottom corner of your stretched cotton cloth like a stream carrying away twigs of grief. A few drops fall off the edge and touch my toes, landing as the embers of a flame. They burn and tingle. Startled, I rise. You grasp my waist in your hands, spin me like a pendulum to relieve the agony. Watercolours drip from my fingertips, leaving faint traces on the surface of the artwork you are creating. You let go. In my dizziness, I fall to the floor. From the crack in my forehead, a rainbow of acrylics bursts forth. Like rays of sun, they stream from that eye onto your canvas. The colors of paradise splashing right there in your art studio. From the pierces and the bruises, from the gashes and the scrapes, those vibrant glows turn this body into light from head to toe. You are the artist, squeezing beautiful hues trapped under avenues of skin, ready to ooze onto that tapestry of you in me. Or is it I in you? You are the artist.